new project that I don't need. Guess I probably ought to put the battery back on, huh? It just looks really bad. It gave up. You don't want to risk burning up all the high dollar electronics on everything, so it's been in a time capsule. Or do an over the frame rail setup like some zoomies or... All right, here's the new street rod. It's not really a street rod, but I'm gonna be driving on the streets a lot. I think the last thing that was ever done to this was probably done in the early 70s, late 60s. So it is very period correct still. Been wanting one of these for like 10 years. Couldn't really find one that was in a price range that I wanted to spend, and either that or they're just too nice. I don't really want one that's like crazy nice show car. I want one that I can, like, you know, weld on and kind of build myself. I don't want to do any big updates that would kind of take it out of its period correct phase that it's in right now. So it definitely shows its age. It was pretty much put up in a garage for like 50 years, covered in trash and everything. So it's been in a time capsule. But it does run, and I did drive it. Not safely, but it moves down the road. So I'm going to gradually start kind of fixing things up to make it a bit more streetable. And then eventually I'd like to start putting some power to the ground and go hot rodding around town, maybe even take it to the drag strip. It's got pretty much a Chevy Bel Air drivetrain for the most part. 283 small block Chevy. It's got a T10 4-speed and 57 or 8 Chevy rear end in it. So eventually be cool to do a Ford drivetrain back in it, but I'm not trying to just dump a bunch of money. I'd like to get it driving good and fix a bunch of stuff, and then find a motor or just try to build this 283 up. I don't think there's a whole lot of power you can make out of these. I don't really know. 350 wheel would be sick, but for now I'm gonna try to find a good deal on some new tires. These things are half a century old and crusty, super sketchy. They're not very round, bouncing all over the place. Just ordered up some new front shocks. These are probably the originals. Most of the stuff on this car was probably from the original build, which is sick because that's pretty much exactly how I wanted one. One that was still period correct. As you can see, it is body dropped or channeled, they call it. So normally this here would be sitting all the way up here on top of the frame rail. So it is dropped over 9 inches, which is why it looks sick for one, but also it is extremely crammed in here. So when I sit in here, my head is touching the ceiling. So as you can tell, the seats are pretty much on the floor. This is the original height roof, so this is not chopped. Yeah, it needs a lot, but I'm gonna try to do little by little so I can keep cruising around town. And first things first is this nasty exhaust that is cobbled together, hanging way below. Looks terrible, so that's gonna come off. The car came with some block hugger headers. So I think I'm gonna put those on maybe today, and then build, probably just do like some turnouts right here and just kick it out. Something simple, and then eventually I'll probably do maybe some over the frame headers. I'm not too sure. But when I do these tubular headers, I got to figure out all new mounting for the alternator because it uses the factory manifold there. So I'm gonna have to come up with something today. They got some hacked up bracket there that's kind of helping now, and then I'll have to come up with something probably off the block. Maybe I'll share another bolt with the manifold. I don't really know how to come up with that. But I think today, first things first, I'm gonna go back in the shed and look for some exhaust that I can scavenge and maybe try to build something here, or at least get a game plan going. But yeah, this is it. It's a 1930 32 grill. It's got a 3-inch front solid drop axle, drum brakes all around. A lot of stuff is just old and fatigued. Like the steering, everything just flexes like crazy. I've gone through some stuff already and just snugged stuff back down, but it needs some bracing for sure to make it a little bit more rigid. It's kind of all over the place on the road, as expected, I guess. But yeah, I'm gonna try to do some welding updates or bracing, but I don't want it to look, I still want it to kind of be period correct. So luckily with my low quality fab skills, it should fit the build pretty well. But yeah, I'm stoked, super stoked. It's all original paint from when they slapped it on. I think it's 55 Buick paint is what I was told. I love it, love the color, stoked. All right, first things first, definitely want to disconnect your battery. You don't want to risk burning up all the high dollar electronics on these bad boys, you know, especially when you have, you know, you're going to be disconnecting that hot wire on the alternator, fry a computer in no time. I almost forgot to take a video of it so you can hear it before I do whole new exhaust on it. There we go. Super quiet. Super quiet. This thing was probably built in a junkyard back in the day. And this exhaust looks like something they probably stole off of another car that was crashed and taken to the salvage yard. But it's quiet. I don't mind it, but it just looks really bad. Hanging under the car, real low, so it's gotta go. And also, I know these manifolds are like old school OG, but you can still put tubulars on it and be period correct, so I'm gonna do that. Yeah, it's so quiet. It's only somewhat loud because of the exhaust leaks. Yeah, this motor's in good shape. Good oil pressure. Bouncy, but none of these other gauges work, so I gotta do all that. The wiring's obviously sketchy, but not too bad. Yeah, so the history I got on this thing is that it's pretty much been put away and parked since 1973. And that's about the last of it really being driven. And then it was in a garage for 50 years. Someone found it and pulled it out, cleaned it up. I think took it to one show in like 2013. Did didn't do anything to it other than take it to a show, and then went back into hiding until just recently. So it's been pretty well preserved in the 60s, early 70s era, which is freaking sick. All right, so here's a picture of how the car sat for approximately 50 years. Be cool to see what that other car looked like. I don't know what that is, probably like a 34. I don't really know. I don't know this stuff. I have no clue what I'm talking about. But yeah, so there it is. That's how it was found in 2013, I think. And then eventually it was drug out of there, and then pretty much just put in another garage and sat for another 12 years. So there it is now. All right, just stripped the exhaust off here. I'm gonna fire it up with those manifolds just to hear how it sounds. A little weight reduction. Guess I probably ought to put the battery back on, huh? Yeah, let's give that a try. Oh shit, someone's calling. All right, let's try this again. Don't hear the fuel pump. Oh, there it is. There we go. All right, that's a bit noisier. As expected. I feel like it definitely could sound better with those tubulars also. Maybe a little less like a truck, I don't know. Hard saying, I don't know much. All right, now I'm kind of on the fence on if I want to do those block huggers or do an over the frame rail setup like some zoomies or lake pipes or something that are like a 4-to-1 collected megaphone thing. I don't really know. I'm kind of on the fence now before I jump into a project that I don't really know what I want the outcome to be. So kind of gonna probably leave it right now chopped off and do some brainstorming and wrap this one up for now. Go for a rip, see how it sounds under some full throttle. But yeah, this is it. New project that I don't need. Don't need though.